Yeah, good point. All right, good evening, everybody. I am going to go ahead and call our Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. The time right now is 6:02 p.m. Before we get started, we have one member who is remote, so we're going to do a roll call individually. So Eric here.
Kim here. Missy here.
Kyle Blake here.
Don, are you there?
I see him.
I am sorry about that. Yes, here.
All right, good. All right, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have a few announcements. This meeting is being recorded by the local scene. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. Financial assistance applications are available on the town's website or by calling the Selectmen's office. For anyone interested in volunteering, there are several vacancies on various committees and boards. To see a complete list of the openings, please visit our website at kingstonma.gov. Please check our website for also additional events or notices at kingstonma.gov. Big one is our Fall Town Meeting, which will happen on Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 at KIS. And due to a recent resignation from the Kingston School Committee, the Kingston School Committee and the Board of Selectmen are seeking candidates interested in filling the open seat until the next town election in the spring of 2026. Interested candidates must submit a letter of consideration and qualifications no later than September 25th at 4 p.m. Please submit your information by mail to Town of Kingston, Board of Selectmen, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, MA 02364, or by email to ptucker@kingstonma.gov. All candidates will be interviewed at a joint Kingston School Committee Board of Selectmen meeting on Tuesday, October 7th at 6:30 p.m. And I just want to add, you don't have to be an expert at education. You don't even have to be a parent to serve on the school committee. You just need to be willing to come and deliberate, listen, take part in conversations. The school committee, basically what they do is they hire a superintendent, and in our case, they do that between Kingston School Committee, Halifax School Committee, Plimpton School Committee, and the Silver Lake Regional School Committee. So there's 4 school committees that hire that superintendent. They also put together the budget every year. The superintendent and her administrators will actually put together the budget. The school committee will deliberate and make changes potentially, and then vote that budget. They also come up with policies. But again, you don't have to be an expert. You just need to be willing to serve your town and do what's right and use some common sense. Definitely reach out to, either myself, I served on that committee for a long time, or any of the current Kingston School Committee members. I'm sure anybody would be happy to fill you in on what's expected. Did you have something else?
I was just going to mention that Open Space Committee spent some time at the Hall property, which is over behind the Opachinski Fields, doing a cleanup event this weekend. They were able to haul out a lot of old plastic tarps back from when there was paintball back there. So just wanted to thank the Open Space Committee for their work. And there is an open seat on that committee if anyone's interested in helping take care of and maintain our open space in Kingston. We have a great amount of open space that I would love to see cared for myself as well. And yeah, that's it.
Great. Any other announcements? No. And I would just like to make notice, tonight is Keith Hickey's last meeting as town administrator here in Kingston. Keith started back in February of 21, I believe. So it's been a little over 4 years. Next week he starts as the town administrator in Fairhaven. So similar sized town, I think, also on the ocean, a little bit different.
Seaside community.
Seaside community, thank you. But I want to personally say thank you to Keith. Although you weren't here for a terribly long time, you were able to make a big impact. You were able to, through your leadership, help get the town through some difficult times, with COVID and a lot of things going on between the town and the schools and various departments through COVID. And we have lots of drama.
Like many
Like
communities.
any town, and you've been able to help guide us through that as well. A lot of things behind the scenes that not everybody sees, but we do. And it's interesting, I met with the department heads a month or two ago to ask them what they would like to see in terms of, we're now in a search for a new town administrator. So I asked them, what sort of things would you be looking for in a new town administrator? And a lot of the answers I got, Keith, were just to clone you. So,
What you wish for.
right. So, no, I think that's good feedback, and I got a lot of positive feedback. People really like the way that you walk around town, go into their offices, see what people need, what sort of help they need to do their job, what you can do to support them. I think that's important. I think that's key. You definitely made your mark here with that. And like I said, you helped guide us through quite a few things, some public, some private. I for one, appreciate it, and I wish you nothing but the best in Fairhaven. And as you've said, I'm sure we're going to stay in contact.
Hope so.
Lots of stuff still going on with the transfer. There's a lot of institutional knowledge right there. So,
I don't really want to take up much time, but if I could just say a couple of things while people are here. First of all, I think the town's going to be in great hands on an interim basis. George Samia, I've gotten to know in the very small world we seem to live in. I look forward to sitting in his molded seat on Monday. He's been a great resource for me and somebody that I've gotten to know a little bit, and I'm sure that he'll do a great job here for you. But before, luckily, I guess, because Sergeant Lenatra's here, we've got a lot of town employees who are here tonight. And before they leave tonight, I just want to, again, thank every one of them for, the effort and sacrifice you put in on a daily, weekly basis. It's very much appreciated. We've got a great group of employees in every department. And I think it's, what's been nice, I think, over the last year or so, frankly, is I didn't know we had this many policemen. I've never seen so many Kingston police officers in one room at one time, and that, I think, goes to the respect they have for Chief Holmes and the admiration they have for Sergeant Lenatra. And I think it's a fantastic change, and one that the police department in this community should be very, very proud of. And it's a reflection, I think, of every department in town would be doing the same thing for their coworkers if they were here for the same purpose Sergeant Lenatra is finally here for tonight. Thank you.
thank you. And I would just like to add, we do have our interim TA here. He's just attending the first part of this meeting. We just did a meet and greet with some of the town employees over at the Council on Aging before this meeting, so it was good for folks here to meet George. And I think it's a really unique situation where we're just swapping with Fairhaven. We're taking their interim TA. He's now going to work here, and Keith is taking the permanent position over there. So these two guys are going to be on the phone probably quite a bit, exchanging institutional knowledge, which you both have gained where you've been. So, and we're lucky. George has quite a few years. East Bridgewater, was it also Whitman? No, East. All over the place.
Lakeville,
Yep,
Sturbridge.
yep.
I got 11 towns under my belt.
So we're in good hands, I think, which is great. And again, this is an interim situation as we seek to fill the permanent position.
And that posting is on the town's website and other places. And applications are due by October 10th. And
Yeah, that sounds right.
Screening working group is Selectman Crone, Selectman Bateman, our HR director, the fire chief, and the police chief.
Police chief, correct. All right, thank you. Thank you again, Keith.
Thank you.
And look forward to working with you, George. All right, so next we have open forum, and I have somebody standing there ready to be recognized. Go ahead, Will.
Hello, my name is Joe Cushman, 273 Main Street, Kingston, Mass. Today I'm not here to bug about any sidewalks, I promise you that. But I just want to say thank you, Keith, for your years of dedicated service to our community of Kingston, Massachusetts, and thank you for everything you did for me for the sidewalks this year. Thank you super much. It's greatly appreciated.
Thanks, Will, I appreciate it, and good luck with your future endeavors. You're a great ambassador to this community.
Thank you. And welcome, George. I can't wait to get to know you.
And would anybody else like to be recognized in open
Did
forum?
you want to mention that? No, okay.
No? Okay. Next, yeah.
Jonathan Clark, Lantern Lane, Kingston.
So, yep, you can go, I'm going to let him speak now. Go ahead, we're going to be addressing post-court, but a lot of that is going to pertain to Lantern Lane as well.
So would you prefer we just wait for that discussion?
Yeah, why don't we wait for that?
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be up right after the next thing. So next item, we're going to have recognition of police personnel. Sergeant Mike Lenatra. Police Chief Brian Holmes would like to recognize Sergeant Lenatra with a letter of merit, recognizing his efforts and commitment to the Kingston Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, honorable members, Mr. Hickey, Ms. Tucker. The life of a canine handler is one of an added layer of sacrifice and service to a community. At the initial onset of the career, there's a 16-week school, full-time, Monday through Friday, that at the time we used Bridgewater Department of Corrections. You're working your dog every day. You're working and learning everything from tracking, apprehension, article searches, air detection, ground detection, search and rescue, civil disobedience. You have your dog that's socializing with other dogs, ideally. You're learning canine tactics and search and rescue tactics. If the handler elects to have the dog attend detection school, usually about a year out, you have your choices of narcotics, firearms, explosive ordnance. The Department of Corrections went as far as to train their dogs in searching for cell phones within the unit. So that's an additional 12 weeks of training. In addition to that, the minimum number of training hours per month for a canine is 16 hours a month. Training is a shared responsibility of both the handler, the hosting town, and the agency that does the training. It's ongoing. The dog gets better with time and more experienced in the work that they do. In addition to that, I don't have to explain to Sergeant Lenatra or State Representative Kathy Lenatra that the dog becomes a part of your family. The dog becomes somebody that is a family member with your handler, your spouses, and the kids, if you have them. If he wants to go on vacation with his family, he has to find another handler to take care of his dog. And then he has to repay that favor when it's time for that person that took care of his dog to go on vacation. It's not like you can just go to doggy daycare and say, take care of this furry land shark, because it doesn't work that way. So these additional layers of sacrifice are not something that you would know about unless you were a handler or you heard about it. The top of the pinnacle for levels of patrol officer is detective, SWAT, and canine, and that's about as high as you can get. There are other, in larger cities, there are other specialists like vice and narcotics and code enforcement and things like that. At the end of June of this year, Canine Valley was retired, and we've had a couple attempts to recognize Sergeant Lenatra, so third time's a charm. We got him here tonight, and I'm pleased to recognize Sergeant Lenatra with a letter of merit for your years of service to the Kingston Police Department and the regional canine community as a police canine handler, working with your partner, your canine partner Oliver from 2007 to 2017, and your second canine partner Valet from 2017 to 2025. Your actions reflect great credit upon yourself, the department, and maintain the highest traditions of law enforcement. Congratulations on a job well done. In addition to this certificate, I'd like you to hold here, there is the department's canine patch and a plaque that is also being retired to Sergeant Lenatra's home or office or wherever he chooses to have it.
Congrats.
All right, next up, we have a request by residents to continue winter maintenance on Post Court. As the board is aware, letters to property owners on unaccepted streets were recently sent informing them of the improvements that need to be made to meet the criteria approved by the Selectmen over a year ago for winter maintenance to continue. The residents of Post Court were informed that the existing fence on the south side of Post Court is too close to road, inhibiting equipment from properly removing snow. The fence is owned by a property owner that lives on the corner of Main Street and Post Court. That owner does not use Post Court to enter or exit their property and therefore does not have a direct benefit from the town plowing Post Court. But the residents of Post Court have contacted the Selectmen's office and Streets, Trees, and Parks to share their concerns about the town no longer plowing Post Court. Keith, do you want to give us an update? And just as a background, please correct me if I misspeak on any of this. A year ago, we had put forth a policy. It used to be the policy that any road with more than, I think, 3 houses on it, where any unaccepted road would be maintained through the winter. One of the problems that we've had, that all the towns have been having over the past couple of years, is it's become more and more difficult to get private contractors to plow for the town. Everybody's dealing with the same issue. So the state pays a lot more than we do, and obviously they take a lot of the contractors first. But the real problem is that a lot of these guys who have their own trucks, just in the past 5 years, the cost of a pickup has more than doubled. Insurance has gone through the roof. Parts, all through COVID, I mean, just trying to get work done on a vehicle is next to impossible. So this is what was sort of the catalyst of why this was brought up a year ago, because we don't have as many trucks available to do these roads. One of the other problems is when they do assign some of these roads that are more difficult, that have issues, it's driven some of these contractors away. They're like, I'm not dealing with that road. So then they're like, give it to somebody else. Well, somebody's got to do it. And that's been one of our biggest problems. So a year ago, the highway department superintendent and Valerie had put together a policy for us to review that, and I forget all of the things it had to
I
have.
have the dates too, if that would help. So the policy was originally voted on and adopted in August of 2023.
Okay.
To go into effect of April of 2024 and give notice. And then in September, I think, of 2024,
That's right.
letters went out. And
Right.
that's when folks came and said, wait, we don't have enough time to fix these things, from many different roads.
And some of the roads were rather simple. It
And
was
some
like,
of them-
cut
and
back
a
some
lot
of the
of them-
bushes on the
exactly.
side, or trees or branches,
Or
and
fill
that
in
would
some potholes. and-
fill in potholes, and a lot of those were taken care of, and we moved on. But there were some, like Post Road, Post Court, that it was a bigger issue, and then we voted to give them a year, until this year, to fix their issue.
Right, and that one in particular is complicated because there is a fence that is not owned by people who live on Post Court.
Right. Oh, hold on, we're not,
having a
we're
discussion.
we're not open yet.
What are you saying?
But
So-
just let us finish.
So,
I'm the fence owner.
I know, but let us
Was
finish.
I ever notified by the town?
Let us finish.
No.
Can you let us
A
finish?
year ago, this was passed.
so
I need-
in
you need to let me
August- so
finish.
August 29th, 2023 was the initial passing of the policy.
Right.
April was when it went into effect. Notifications didn't go out until September, which there was a lot of objection to that because there were folks who were abutters to those properties, including the person on Main Street, who did not receive notification. So we, as the board, decided to make some exceptions to that policy because we were not aware that not everyone who was impacted was not notified.
Right.
So that's why of quite a few streets were actually exempted at that time, which brings us to now. But just in terms of the date, I just wanted to make sure we had that. So it was August 29th, 2023, and then into effect April of 2024.
Right. Okay.
But, at the end of the day, I think what we're most concerned about is trying to get all the roads plowed, regardless of whether they're private or unaccepted ways or public, safely, so that no property is damaged and no employees or equipment or contractors are at risk of experiencing damage. So
Right.
if you have a truck that runs into a giant rock because it didn't know the rock was there, because it sticks into the road, we need to address that, or have someone address it. And that was, I think, the concern that we discussed last year, was how do we get as many roads as possible so we can plow them safely?
Right, right. And we have more roads. It's not just Post Court or Lantern Lane. I mean, there are other roads that we're dealing with, and some are worse than others. The one on Post Court, it's really just related to that fence. Lantern Lane, as far as I understand, I haven't seen it, so I'm trying to remember. Sean is not here. Our highway superintendent
Unfortunately.
couldn't be here tonight. What was the issue again with Lantern
So
Lane?
with
It
with
was-
Lantern Lane,
it's the width.
It's the width of the road, as well as, excuse me, having 2 feet on the side of each road in sections of the road to push the snow back and store
Right.
the snow.
Is
So,
there something about a turnaround, I thought? No?
Yeah,
maybe not.
so
Maybe
yeah,
I'm misunderstanding.
want me to just jump in? Are you okay
Yeah,
with
go
it?
ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
a couple of things. I had conversations, and there's a gentleman here this evening from Post Court who asked, along with members of residents along Post Court as well, to be here tonight, so I think that they are. Sean Turner and I met with a property owner on Lantern Lane 2 weeks ago, I think it was. He emailed the town last week to ask to be placed on tonight's agenda. Unfortunately, Trish was on vacation, so we didn't get that information until yesterday. I reached out to the gentleman from Lantern Lane yesterday and said, well, I can't get you on the agenda tonight. What you can do, and what I think he tried to do, was, my suggestion was to get up during public comment and express to the board that they would like the Board of Selectmen to consider whatever relief they may give to Post Court, that Lantern Lane be given the same consideration. So you've got, from what I understand, 2 roads here, residents from 2 roads here this evening, Lantern Lane and Post Court. So let me start with Post Court. Post Court, I think, as everybody's probably aware, the challenge and the issue that's been brought forward with regards to the inability to potentially plow is the fence that starts at the intersection of Post Court and Main Street. I've had a number of conversations with the property owner who has been, we spoke again as late as this afternoon, and we I think have come up with a potential option that I'd like to bring forward to the board for consideration. It doesn't fix the problem completely, but I think it may address the issue. The challenge we have with when we try to bring forward a cookie cutter policy is, you mentioned, Mr. Chair, a lot of these roads have different and unique circumstances, and we've tried to be as lenient as we can be, I guess, in trying to work with the property owners to not have these roads not be plowed in the wintertime. So when I spoke to the owner at the intersection of Main and Post Court today, we were trying to figure out the best way to deal with the fence situation and the fact that, there's an expense to move that fence that I don't think the town should be bearing, not because the fence, we may not have some responsibility there, but because, like I said, every road has an issue. So it's not a fence on Lantern Lane, it's potentially some rocks and at least 2 weeks ago, the potential willingness of a property owner to remove a piece of his lawn and put in some crushed stone. That would have potentially fixed the problem to streets and park satisfaction. So, but the ask was, we're fine to do that, but we want the town to fund these types of things. So, getting back to Post Court, what the property owner and I, who owns the fence, what we talked about today, and what I think it's okay to, and I'd ask you to get up and tell me I'm wrong if you disagree with anything I'm saying. He is willing to, as the property owner, not hold the town harmless, or I'm sorry, hold the town harmless, not hold the town responsible. That if the town was to damage the fence during a snow plow operation or a snow removal operation, because the challenge isn't just plowing the snow, because the fence is up against the side of the road. What often happens when there's a significant amount of snowfall, Streets and Park has to go out and physically remove the snow that's been piled up against the fence to provide more space for more snow to be placed if in fact more snow comes. So the offer that the property owner has given the town, I think, is a reasonable one. It will still require the town to go out and move the snow away from the fence if we get some significant amount of snow, and there's significant amount of snow forecast in the future. We haven't, to the best of my knowledge, damaged a fence that's been there for 30-ish years,
Since 1983.
1983, so.
Never been hit.
So, I guess I feel confident that Streets, Trees, and Parks understands there's a fence there, and they try to work around that to the best of their ability. The owner of the property has been generous enough to be willing to allow the town to be held harmless, which I think is the concern the town has had all along. Again, it's not a perfect solution, because we're gonna have to go back during the day, during regular work hours, if there's a need to remove the snow, but we are eliminating the potential risk of damaging property. To me, it feels like a suitable resolution for both sides to kind of meet in the middle.
And to be clear, at least one of the other roads we're dealing with, there are issues where we're concerned with they could be unsafe for our employees and our equipment. This is not one of those. So
No.
it's really
Right.
just, it's the private property.
Yes.
Right, so it's not, we're not worried about the driver's safety, and we're not worried about,
The actual condition of the road
the
is
vehicle.
absolutely fine, so we're not concerned about the vehicle being damaged by potholes or
Right.
things like that in the roadway. The concern we had was potentially damaging private property by having a fence as close as it was to the road, because of the generosity of the property owner being willing to not hold the town, hold the town harmless for any potential damage that hopefully won't happen, but could. To me, it's kind of a win-win, a reasonable resolution. So-
And knowing that we have 2 trucks that can fit down a road that narrow, and if we don't get contractors again, there may be delays in getting roads that are narrow plowed. That's just the reality of the situation, is that we only have a couple of trucks that can
right.
make it down that street.
What's the matter with pickup truck?
So,
The
hang
That's-
on, if I could, sir, so that we have a couple, so we have, let me
Hold-
finish,
hold
let
on,
me,
hold
let me
on.
finish, let
Hold
me
on,
finish.
hold-
No, I'm
Sir,
not,
hold on, hold on. Yeah, you need, I'm
There's-
gonna let you go up to the mic and you can speak, but you
We-
gotta say your name and then speak.
we have, so Streets, Trees, and Parks has equipment like pickup trucks that we will use on Post Court to plow the roads. Oftentimes, there's been a significant number of outside plowing companies, contractors, that will plow roads for the town, in addition to the town plows, okay? We're seeing fewer and fewer of those outside contractors who are willing to put the hours in, potentially damage a truck, because it's becoming more and more expensive to do, right? So the resources that we have available to plow a narrow street like Post Court is only 2 pickup trucks, where in the past, we may have had 2 pickup trucks and 2 or 3 private plowing company pickup trucks. Those private plowing company pickup trucks may not be available to us this year, so the amount of road that Streets, Trees, and Parks is gonna have to plow with a pickup truck, because that's the only size truck that will go down that road, the number of miles may increase. So what I think the chair is trying to say to you and to everybody who may be listening is, I think Streets, Trees, and Parks in the past have done a tremendous job at getting out and getting roads cleared very quickly. It might take them a little bit longer this winter, if, God forbid, we have snow, and the number of roads and the resources available to us to plow those narrow roads have shrunk. So rather than, rather than being out there at 6 o'clock in the morning to plow Post Court, it may be 8 o'clock in the morning, because they're just traveling around. It's not, so we just, again, I think what the chair was trying to say to everybody was, the town of Kingston has an interest in doing, and continuing to do an excellent job at maintaining roads, because the number of outside plowing companies that we have available to us are shrinking. The number of resources we have available to us are shrinking, and what's more challenging on your road, as we've already talked about, is it's so narrow, I can't send a 10-wheeler down there. So I've only got 2 pieces of equipment that can plow roads that are width challenged. like yours, and is going to require a more specialized piece of equipment to fit down there properly. So we're not, I don't think we're trying to suggest, I don't want you to walk away from this tonight suggesting that we're trying to do a lesser job on post-court. We aren't. It just, I don't have the same number of pieces of equipment to plow post-court as we've had in the past. So I just ask you guys to be patient. We aren't ignoring you. We're trying to get down there. It'll be on a plowing route, just like we always have. The number of plowing routes, unfortunately, are shrinking because we don't have the resources anymore to have the number of plowing routes we had. So it's going to take our staff and the outside contractors that are coming back a little bit extra time to go through their entire plow route than they have in the past.
And just to add to that, we have many, many narrow roads, and on the Nook, for instance, where the 10-wheelers are not going to fit. So we have a lot of narrow roads that have to be addressed with these pickup trucks. We did increase our rates for plow drivers, hoping to entice more private folks to come and work for the town of Kingston. And we increased the insurance stipend, hoping to get more people.
Well,
You
no,
gotta go up there and say your name and
You gotta do it up there.
address.
Sorry.
So here's my deal. So, you know,
Name and address, sir.
Post Court,
Oh, yeah, just-
Barry Figlioli, 6 Post Court.
Thank you.
Okay, so, you know, there's a fire hydrant down the end of the road. What's the fire department think about that?
So the fire department, so if I, the fire department,
Well, wait a second, let me explain.
Sure, I apologize. I thought you were done.
So, you know, so everybody had to pay a betterment for them to come down the road, right? They put sewer covers. First, they said, oh, the sewer covers are too high, right, at one point. And then, you know, so that didn't work. So then they said, well, you know, it's not wide enough, right? So, you know, I have a defibrillator and a pacemaker, so if they try to get down there, what are they gonna do?
So I'm actually going to pause you there
Okay,
because we're not done, because I think we
Yep.
might be done. I'm not opening it up yet. I will if people want to speak, but I would just ask that you let us finish up here first. And then I'm going to open it up, because if we can
But the
solve this problem
town-
without, hold on, if we can solve this problem without a whole lot of speaking, that's
town-
what we're going to do.
the town is the one that caused the
So
problem down.
I am
You know?
putting an end to
Sorry,
this.
are you-
Sir,
are-
The
we're-
Johnson's fence,
we're-
they put it too close to the road, the
Okay,
other end.
I got it.
After they replaced it.
That's
I
it,
mean,
that's
it's
it.
not his
I'm
fault.
calling
He
you
shouldn't have to
out.
pay for it.
You're,
They have to
sir,
replace it.
please, stop.
Easy.
Stop.
Okay. Yep.
Were you going to say something?
You put the fence in.
Oh, my
So if
God.
I-
All right,
The
so,
town put the fence.
guys,
the sewer
enough.
department
Stop,
did.
or I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
leave.
All right.
Okay, that's it.
so hang on, if I could, hang on, let me just, so.
Listen, guys, let us try to solve this problem. If you guys can be quiet, we might be able to solve the problem. Do you want to leave? Because I'll ask you to leave, and if you won't leave, I'll call the police. So
So,
just shut up and let us finish.
so,
I've told you multiple times, this is how he treated me on the
All right,
phone.
Let's pause. Let's take a breath. Keith, did you have something you wanted to say?
so, again, I understand the concern that was raised by the residents on Post Court, including the owner who owns the fence. I think, I think respectfully, if you guys will just give the board 5 minutes, I'm pretty confident. So the concern you guys have is you want to have your road plowed. The fence, the gentleman who owns the property with the fence has
Just
been,
the one who just left.
has been kind enough to hold the town harmless if the fence remains and there's damage. I'm not a bright guy, and I show that every Tuesday night. However, I'm pretty confident if I'm counting heads up here, the Board of Selectmen is going to go with a suggestion of plowing the road and holding the town harmless is going to be a reasonable solution. So I understand the frustration, and I understand the concerns about medical issues and things of that nature, and I think everybody up here respects that. What I think the chair is trying to suggest is if you give these guys 5 minutes to debate and make a motion, I think you're going to walk out of the room pretty happy. Okay?
And I think at the end of the day, again, focusing on what we're trying to get to, I think we want to plow all the roads safely.
Correct.
That's it.
Amen.
So I think we all want the same
that's what we
thing, so
want.
we're trying to get there. It's just a little ugly sometimes in the middle.
So I think, I wanted to thank Keith because I think he spent a lot of time with the residents
Yep.
on this and making, talking to them, having these considerations to be brought to us and giving us time to talk about them, I think is important because that's exactly what we want.
Well,
We want to be able to plow the roads.
And I appreciate that very much, but again, the gentleman who owns the fence, if he was unwilling to try to find a compromise, it wouldn't have mattered how much time I spent. So I
Well-
appreciate the fact that we didn't start off on the best foot. But we continued to talk and joke around a little bit and ended up coming to what I think to be a fairly reasonable compromise. So I know we can continue to talk about this. I would respectfully suggest the board consider making a motion so we can just put this to bed.
Also, if there's a lot of snow, just so that you guys know, in 2013, my understanding from the highway superintendent is that we called in the National Guard to clear roads like Post Court because we didn't have the equipment that could clear the roads safely. It was too narrow. So if that is the case, if we have a year like 2013, we may need to be more creative and we won't be able to fit the pickup trucks down because there just was too much snow. And if that's the case, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together.
I mean, I think, again, I would just ask to sit back and look at the history of the Streets, Trees, and Parks Department, and I think that they have gone above and beyond and done a great job at removing snow with whatever resources they had, and if, God forbid, we have a snowstorm like the one that Selectman Enberg just mentioned, I want to be on vacation someplace down south.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Thank you.
Do it.
I move that the Board of Selectmen authorize the continuing plowing of the post-court road with the proviso that we receive a document making the fence, any liability concerning the fence, not a problem for the town.
Second. Tie.
All right,
Give it to Missy.
is Dawn's still there? All right, all those in favor, Eric, aye?
Kim, I.
Missy, I.
Carl Pike, aye.
Don, aye.
All right, now we don't have Lantern Lane separately on here, but I also need to speak with Sean on this. But I will let you speak because what I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind, do you have a question?
I've been living on Postcourt for 3 years.
Actually, can you go up to the mic? Sorry.
Yes.
Brandon, thank you for pulling
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
keeping it going. I just want,
And just introduce yourself.
Colin Cromie, 3 Postcourt.
Okay.
About 23 years down there. The event with, in 2013, townwide power outage, 5 to 7 to 10 days, right? They came down with a front end loader. It was this thick after the guy left, and we took care of it on the tail end of it. I've had many, innumerable visits down to to Mr. Basler about, hey, you new guys haven't hit the route this year. I'd walk into the first phone calls, never addressed. I started showing up. It's been a cyclical thing. Sometimes, some years they get it, some not. In reflection on the fence and the positioning of it, during the sewer betterment, the gentleman that was here, that owns the front house, the proposal was brought to him. They had hit the roots of his willow tree, right? And they couldn't swing the machine because of the fence. So they said, hey, we'll offer to take the willow tree down, $4,000 tree job back when the betterment happened, and then we'll take the fence and put the fence back up, and the contractor paid for all that action. The rub is that they actually placed the fence, 18 to 24 inches closer to the road at that time. So the town's contractor actually did that and squeezed the road. This gentleman's upset because he just found out so tight in timeline, not aware of any of this at all because of the non-abutters, right,
Understood.
that you depicted earlier. And I think that if that lends any, understanding as to the nature of what's really transpiring. The other thing with Mr. Basler annually with the new contractors that were on board was to plow it to the passenger side, to the driver's side of the vehicle, to the center median that works. Never have we ever had, except for in 2013, in my timeline there, has there been any unnecessary retroactive coming and clearing of snow on Post Court ever. So just to dispel any kind of that, the general trend that was going in, it's never been an issue, except if they did it, well, ran the snow blower up, tuned it, went to talk to Bassler, boom, it was done. And it was just about communication, and I'm glad for your, we thank you for what you brought, but I thought that you might want to understand the nuts and bolts of the early days of it.
Appreciate
That's all I
that.
have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your
All
time
right.
tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate the vote.
Thank you.
I also think we should potentially in the spring look at the policy itself and just have the superintendent, because as we mentioned, we worked with Paul Bassler before, and just make sure that what it says gets us to the streets safely. So, I mean, maybe the width isn't the right number, I don't know, maybe 2 feet is too much, maybe it only needs to be 1.5 feet, I don't actually know. I'm not a plow person, but I'm hoping that we
mean,
just
I think-
regularly look at the policy.
Sure. I mean, the challenge is that we're dealing in some cases, like Post Court, with a very, very old road.
Yeah.
It wasn't built for some of the vehicles that are traveling down there to be plowed. Lantern Lane, again, it's a short, narrow in spots street that doesn't allow for, or as easily as it could, some of the larger vehicles that we have to be able to get down there and plow the road without potentially damaging the private property of people, whether it be, and again, Mr. Turner and I were down there. We were hosted very nicely with by one of the owners down there. We had a great conversation. There are some stone walls that are there that have been there, I think, for quite some time. They're decorative in nature, I think, for the most part. They aren't there to keep soil from coming down, the type of thing, but they've been there for quite some time. They'd be very expensive to have to move. What we suggested to the property owner on the inside of, and I apologize, I'm terrible with directions, on the inside of Lantern Lane, on the inside of the curve of Lantern Lane, was removing, I want to say, was it 18 inches, sir? A foot, okay, a foot of, let me back up. There's grass to the edge of pavement. And as you work your way down around that bend, it narrows up a bit, and Sean offered to have the property owner remove a foot of the grass and replace that with rock. The issue and the reason for doing that, I think it was somewhat of a compromise. It wasn't as expensive, obviously, as having to put in asphalt. Again, that's at that narrow section of the road, it becomes a little bit more challenging when you have 1-ton pickup trucks or dump trucks going down through there and having to maintain those roads. The property owner, a number of years ago, was generous enough to allow the Streets and Parks superintendent at the time to install a turnaround for town vehicles. If you look at the very end of the road, there's a turnaround that town trucks, if they need to, can turn around in there and have to drive back up rather than back up Lantern Lane, to try to address, again, the ability to maintain the property. The challenge is, I think, and the owners can speak to it better than I, the type of vehicle that can go down Lantern Lane and maintain Lantern Lane in its current condition diminishes to a much smaller vehicle because of the width of the road. Again, I don't want to speak for the gentleman, and I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, as he should. He was willing to give up a foot of his pavement for this crushed stone. The debate comes, he doesn't feel it's his responsibility to do that work. We explained at that meeting that it's an unaccepted private road, that the town does not have the legal authority to expend town funds to do the work and put that type of material down there. So,
Can I ask, if we don't do that, it's just grass, correct? Is that?
Nodding.
It
Yeah.
is, it's just grass.
So
Yes.
but we're asking him to put the crushed stone down
So we don't drive on the grass?
so we don't go on the grass?
I
Is
don't
that
know
it?
either.
So to widen, yeah, to widen, I think ultimately to widen that out a bit.
So otherwise,
Yeah,
if
so
we
the
go on the
dra-
grass and we tear up his grass,
So, so a couple of things. I mean,
they
again,
tear up my grass and my road is very wide. I'm like,
you should have been on, you should have been on the school committee. It's a joke.
I'm talking about
That was
the
a joke.
plows.
I know, that was a joke. The issue, I think, if I could, is, again, if the property owner is willing to accept that a foot of his grass may be damaged by a plow, then that might be something we can work with. There's my only hesitation, and again, I think it's something that's not insurmountable, it's just something we need to have a conversation about. We were initially talking 12 inches, 18 inches, how does that, what's the right number? The 18 inches, you get closer and closer to an irrigation system. And I think fixing the lawn is not that hard to do in the spring. Replacing heads on an irrigation system and potentially, the piping that feeds those heads, it becomes more expensive, certainly, and more challenging. So, let me throw this out, and again, I'm just spitballing, so you can tell me what you like and what you don't like. If we tried to identify what a foot was and put some grade stakes on the property that identified where the foot was off of the pavement, so the streets, trees, and parks in a snowstorm would have a visible object that would be able to say, there's my foot off of the pavement. And if we tear up your lawn, we tear up your lawn, and you're okay with that. I just don't want to have them be a little bit more aggressive or have a new plow person on that road go 18 inches, hit a sprinkler head, and then you come and say, hey, dude, we said a foot, and he damaged the sprinkler. So is it possible, I guess, to put something along your property that would designate where that foot area is, so somebody should have a much better idea, what the parameters are for how far they can plow? Or something, I'm just saying wooden stakes, wooden grade stakes. But if you've got a better,
Well, he sent it. Do you want to speak? Okay. And just to be clear, this isn't on our agenda, post-court is.
Correct.
But I don't know if we can we still deliberate even though it's a different road? It's related, but it's not the same road.
so by the absolute letter of the law, I guess I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, he can talk to us.
Yeah, no, I know, but what I'm
That's why
saying
he was
is,
coming in that's why he was coming in public comment. because
yeah,
I
I'm just
told him
wondering
he-
if we can deliberate or vote. But go ahead, actually, just introduce
All
yourself.
right, Jonathan Clark, 2 Lantern Lane.
Okay.
As you know, you guys have been plowing our road for as long as I've been there. It always really has not had a problem, except sometimes not showing up. But the road, let's start with the stone wall at the end actually is kind of a retaining wall because the road is here and their property is down here. You're talking gazillions to relocate that or move it. The curbing on the other first house has been there forever, and I don't even see a problem with that. That road has been clearly staked every winter by 2 homeowners. We've never had a problem. The problem, I think, really occurred when I put in those beautiful rocks on the corner, which I only put them there because the trucks or cars would hit that corner, the ground would recess, the rain would come down, wash that out, and the road would start to cave in. So I just wanted to tell Amazon, please don't do that anymore. We somewhat succeeded. I can remove rocks, and we can clearly stake that road as we have every year. You guys don't even have to do it. If you want a letter from the people with the stone wall that you would be held harmless for their stone wall, that can be sent. So I really kind of think, as the direction you were going, which I appreciate, plow a road. If I have to fix a little bit of grass, I have to fix a little bit of grass. We did talk about the stone, but after I thought about that, I think that would just make a bigger mess every year, where a little bit of sod is not that big a deal. So if you want to put that into your way of thinking with this, that would be
So
terrific.
my suggestion to the board, because it's not on the agenda tonight, is what I'd like to do, if the board would be willing, is to give the interim town administrator, that feels good. And
It's like the day before vacation, right?
And the streets, trees, and parks superintendent, the ability to meet and come up with a resolution that's to the satisfaction of the streets, trees, and parks superintendent and the property owners.
And then, in
Yeah.
terms of an agenda request, I would request that we say something like exceptions to policy, just more
Right.
generically if we can, a little bit, just so that we can cover Lantern Lane, anything else
Yeah.
that Sean thinks we need to
We just didn't-
discuss.
We didn't
Right.
know.
Right, of
Lantern Lane
course.
was- So
No, of
that's
course.
why, so.
But that might cover it in case something else bubbles to the top.
Don, were you trying to say
Can I-
something? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
just a quick question. And we just need to confirm with Sean, but I just want to make sure that there wasn't an integrity reason that he wanted rock there, because obviously vehicles, as the resident just mentioned, can slip, slide, dig in on grass, whereas if he was putting in
Right.
rock, now, obviously, if you only put in an inch of rock, it's not going to do anything, but if Sean wanted it done to a certain depth, that would add integrity to the road. So we just need to verify that's not the reason that he wanted it done.
Sure, and again, I think if the board's comfortable just allowing Sean and George, if needed, to spend some time with the property owners down on Lantern Lane and make sure that the concerns that he has have been addressed to his satisfaction, I think we can make this, find a resolution to the satisfaction of both sides.
Great, thanks for hearing me.
No, thank you. All right, so we will put that on the next agenda. Tricia, if you can remember to do that. I would say Keith, but
Nope.
I was going to say, can you put it on our next agenda,
Nope.
but
Always
no.
Tricia.
Yeah.
My right hand can do it, trust me.
All right, any other questions about post-court then? And now, having said that, did anybody want to speak? We already voted to take care of this.
We could
so I
always
think we're
reconsider
okay.
if we had something.
Oil trucks go down all the time, and when you guys salt the road, you come down with the 10-wheeler, and they back all the way in and salt it all the way out.
But again, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but the plows, when they're down and extended, are much wider than the width
Yeah.
of the truck.
Yeah.
So maybe that's fast.
If you want to say something, just go up there.
No, I was just going to say thank you for
Oh,
posting.
sure.
I had some words prepared, but we already took care of it.
Good.
We want to say thank you very much for this.
You're more than welcome
Yeah.
to send us the words if you want us to read them too. If you want to email them to us, you can.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Actually, I miss you, I've never met you, but you speak quite well.
The only person who's ever said that.
Moving on.
Moving on, appointment of Assistant Conservation Agent. Upon completion of an employment search and interviews, the town administrator is recommending Georgiana Menena to fill the Assistant Conservation Agent. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move to appoint Georgiana, wow, you did a better job than I will. Menena to the position of Assistant Conservation Agent, a grade 4, step 4, non-exempt position within KTEU labor with the Conservation Department with an anticipated start date of November 3rd, 2025, contingent with the terms in the offer letter.
Second,
All right, all those in favor, Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Missy, I.
Kyle Pike, aye.
Don, aye.
All right.
Thoughts and prayers to Matt as he maintains one-person office until November 3rd.
Appointment of teen and emerging technology librarian. Upon completion of an employment search and interviews, the library director is recommending Parker Urositis, if I said that right, to fill the teen and emerging technology librarian position. Motion, anyone?
I move to appoint Parker Yarositis to the position of teen and emerging technology librarian, a Schedule D-7 exempt position within wage and personnel, with an anticipated start date of October 6th, 2025, contingent with the terms in the offer letter.
Second.
All those in favor, Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Missy, I.
Kyle Pike, aye.
Don, aye.
All right, appointment of Pauline Dodd as a regular member of the Council on Aging Advisory Board. She submitted a letter of interest to serve as a regular member. Advisory Board voted unanimously to support Ms. Dodd's appointment.
I move to appoint Pauline Dotis as a regular member of the Council on Aging Advisory Board to a term ending June 30th, 2027.
Second.
All those in favor, Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Missy, I.
Kyle Pike, aye.
Don, aye.
I think they still have one more open seat if anyone's interested, and I think they also might still have an associate member seat as well.
All right, closing the special town meeting warrant. Keith?
Sure. So when the board adopted the fall town meeting calendar, tonight was the night the board is supposed to close the warrant. Right now, I have 10 draft articles on the warrant. I think I've included the table of contents in your board packet materials. That there needs to be some items addressed, obviously. We have, as we've talked about before, less than $5,000 in available taxes. So all of the items that are there tonight would be funded through some other source, with the exception of the requested sergeant for the Family Services Unit. I think the chief has got some ideas on how to try to deal with that, and that can be addressed sometime between now and fall town meeting. I will say that I was on a conference call last week with the MSBA regarding the elementary schools roof replacement program that the MSBA has agreed to fund or grant funds of, I think, the equivalent of 53% of the cost. There's some information that the MSBA was looking for from the school department. I know they're working on it. At least some of that information has been submitted to the MSBA. I think that the school department has until this Friday to get that information to the MSBA. If they aren't somehow able to do that, what the MSBA had indicated last week on the phone was they may need to push the Kingston project from the October MSBA board meeting to the December MSBA board meeting for approval. What that does internally with town meeting is it would mean town meeting would be approving or considering this project contingent upon MSBA approval.
Yeah.
Where we had set up an October 28th town meeting because it was shortly after the October MSBA meeting. So hoping that all the information can be provided by the school by the end of this week to allow the MSBA to vote on this prior to our town meeting. I think it's important, and Paul Gallagher provided some information, I think, to everybody that will need, if it is a fall town, if it does get approved, it would be a debt exclusion warrant article that would need to have a special election held, that would have to be held sometime, obviously in November, December timeframe, which is never a great time to do it with holidays, but so we'll see where that goes. The operating budget, the supplemental operating budget for the planning department is with the anticipation that some of our commercial development will occur, and that the cost of the permits needed for those commercial developments will offset the cost, more than offset the cost of a part-time planning admin to help with that. The assessing department is seeking $100,000 for their townwide revaluation that has to happen every 5 years. They're asking for it at the fall town meeting, which I know is not ideal, but it's coming from overlay. It's not being asked to be raised by taxes. What it does, I'm told by the Board of Assessors, is that it provides the assessing department an additional 4 or 5 months to get the reval done by the due dates, rather than waiting until a May town meeting and having a lesser period of time to award a contract and get that company out there to do the revaluation. The veterans, we're going to be talking about that in an upcoming agenda item, but we have in front of the board tonight, we're proposing creating a district with the town of Duxbury. It would require the town of Kingston to, or the district, I guess, which would be housed by the town of Kingston, It would require us to hire a part-time admin to assist with or support the veterans agent. The benefit to that is the town of Duxbury and the agreement that we've proposed. The town of Duxbury and the town of Kingston would split evenly the cost of the wages and benefits for the veterans agent and the admin. The benefits that are provided to veterans by the veterans agent, the budget for Kingston would remain in Kingston, the budget for Duxbury would remain in Duxbury. So based on the assumptions that we made for wages, the assumption is that we will save annually $78,000 a year by having a veterans district. So we need, the $13,000 would be appropriated for the part-time admin for 7 months. We would be offsetting the revenue by 7 months of $77,000, which would be certainly well more than the $13,000. We're also looking to supplement the police department budget. There's two articles. Both of them are related primarily, I think, and again, the chief can speak to it better than I. Trying to establish a family service unit. There's $180,000 for that right now you see is just a dollar sign. That would be $180,000, which would be for the salaries, benefits, and operating expenses of a family service unit for the remainder of the year. That will be funded completely by grant monies and opioid funds. The $100,000 that's now listed as Article 6 is $100,000 for a sergeant to oversee the family services unit, as well as, I assume, some other tasks, and Chief Holmes can get into that whenever you want to do that.
Can we stop right there?
Absolutely.
These types of items annoy me just a bit, that we go through a meeting or two where we authorize this type of thing. It's going to be covered by grants the first year around, and so we talk about it and we say, yes, we approve it, and recognizing that, if the grant isn't renewed the next year, we probably have an issue of financing it. And now we're looking to come here with another $100,000 the first year. I'm not sure I understand, the reasoning for this.
So, again, I respectfully, I think there's an opportunity in the next couple of meetings to have a discussion with the departments that are seeking the different appropriations that are coming forward at fall town meeting. Tonight's really the only thing tonight was meant for was to close the warrant, and I've probably gone well beyond the scope of that by just explaining what the articles are that we've received, so I apologize if I've overstepped there. But I know that the Chief Holmes and the police department have a pretty detailed explanation as to what the appropriations are for and the purposes for them and the justification for them, and I'd ask that the board just place that on a future agenda for discussion, and some decisions can be made at that point.
That's reasonable, thank you.
Thank you. Last couple of things, the sidewalk plow, that's gonna have to be jumped up to $234,000 from $225,000. Sidewalk plow was on the capital plan initially to be replaced in fiscal '26. I made a decision with some input from the Streets and Parks interim superintendent to push that a year to fiscal '27, hoping we would get one more year out of it. We haven't. It's in a condition now that really is cost prohibitive to fix. I have identified 4 different funding items or funding appropriations that have already been, that either are approved or have all been approved, that I would look at to use to fund this. The Veterans Memorial appropriation, they had a significant amount of money appropriated for the memorial out front. I met with that Veterans Memorial group last week. They have $74,000 remaining that was appropriated through free cash. They do have some invoices that they have left to pay, and they would like to have a little bit of, and I don't want to call it a buffer, that probably isn't a fair adjective, but they want to have, just to be safe. So I'm asking them, and I've shared with them that what I'd ask them to be supportive of doing is closing out that appropriation, closing out $50,000 of that appropriation and reappropriating it for a portion of the sidewalk tractor. there's $108,540 of unexpended wages for fiscal '26 in the streets, trees, and parks budget because of the vacancies. $40,000 from the, I'm gonna steal and make the assumption that we're gonna do a veterans district, and I'm gonna look to try to take $40,000 from that budget to offset the trackless machine, and then use $35,605 from snow and ice to fund the tractor as well. So I believe there are reasonable budget savings that we can use to take care of that sidewalk tractor. Looking to have, the police department's looking to establish a revolving fund for abandoned and taken property. There is no appropriation for that. The wastewater department is seeking to appropriate $82,000 to hire a wastewater operator and a part-time admin. I've spoken to the wastewater superintendent and just wanted to make sure that the wastewater department has $82,000, can raise $82,000 in their fees to cover that cost. So they're going to be running those numbers, and I'm sure they'll be speaking to the board about that. The board talked a while ago about trying, and I think Selectman Alcombright brought this forward, trying to bring forward a hawkers and peddlers solicitation registry. So I've got that on there as well, and then special legislation, the board already agreed to, I think, to present to the community, changing the town clerk from an elected to an appointed position.
Right.
So those are 11.
And I
Sorry.
think the Finance Committee wanted one to change their bylaw, right? So if we
Yeah.
could,
So you're gonna have to, and
Yeah.
it can absolutely be done. The mechanics of that is reopening the warrant, bringing that in, closing the warrant, which we've done in the past. It's not a big deal, but that's the process that the
Right.
board would have to use to add an article now.
We
If
can
you decide
do
to
that
close it.
literally in one meeting.
You
You
can-
open it, add it, close it.
Absolutely.
the reason I brought it up is because the warrant is open right now.
Right.
And all we're looking at is a summary of the meeting articles. So I guess the question is can we just say we're
Put a
adding,
placeholder.
yeah, we're adding a 12th?
So I.
Article? I don't know how it works.
And I'm not telling you, I'm not sitting here trying to tell you which way, I have written the articles. Most of them have been approved by legal counsel.
Okay.
I think the board can, I don't think anybody's gonna have an issue if the board says that they would like to add an article to amend the,
And that's if Finance Committee even has one. I don't know.
to amend the petition, or, I'm sorry, to amend the budget bylaw. I think if you say that, we can probably add that, and that's fine.
I
And close
thought
the
it-
Well, this
I
isn't the
thought-
budget bylaw.
No,
This
no,
is
no.
them, they wanted to change it, instead of saying, the Finance Committee is 7 members, to saying it's up to 7 members, because they were having trouble
Okay,
meeting,
I
because they only have 4
Yeah.
members right now. So they just wanted to make a slight modification
My
to
bad.
their bylaw,
Yep.
which I don't think is going to be dramatic. I
No.
think it's just a up to,
Up to instead of is.
and gives them a
Right.
little more flexibility, since we've had trouble
Right.
replacing our esteemed colleague over there.
No comment.
Can you be on both?
No, you can't, actually.
All
So,
right.
okay. But otherwise, I don't know of anything else. That was the only one that I know
Right,
Michael
so
had
do we
mentioned.
want to add a placeholder for that, or you think we should hold off and get it written and?
I don't think it matters. I really don't think reopening the warrant, if the FinCom wants to do that.
Is a big deal, yeah. we've
Open
talked-
Okay,
it
so
up.
let's hold off then. Okay,
Will you be in touch with Michael? though,
Yeah, I
To
will.
follow up,
I
just to
will.
let him know, okay.
all right, do I have a motion on this?
I move the Board of Selectmen close the October 28th, 2025 special town meeting warrant.
Second,
All those in favor, Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Missy, I.
Carl Pike, aye.
Don, aye.
All right, consideration of forming a veterans district with the town of Duxbury. We previously discussed this. Keith, did you want to?
Sure, so with me in the audience is the reason we can do this, and that's Sarah Lansing. She's Kingston's Veterans Administrator. She was the Duxbury Veterans Administrator prior to this. We met, frankly, because Duxbury was having a hard time finding a Veterans Administrator. Veteran Director, I apologize, Veteran Service Director. And they reached out to Sarah, who came and talked to me about forming a district. And it was something that we had talked about, frankly, when our two part-time admins retired, because we were having the same problem. Luckily, because of the amazing work environment we have here, Sarah came to Kingston, and we're very blessed that she's here. So, Duxbury came out saying, hey, can we form a district? And we sat down and talked, and Sarah feels exceptionally confident that we can do that. So we started looking at, what the impact is going to be to the veterans of Kingston, what the budget impact is going to be, and how we're going to do this. Sarah provided some information that she had gotten from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Veteran Services. Thank you. Took me about 3 weeks. And they kind of have some guidelines as to the staffing levels that they recommend having for a certain level of numbers of veterans that you serve. So what their recommendation is that they would have a full-time veterans agent and a full-time admin. When we ran the numbers, frankly, it was going to cost Kingston more money to form a district than at the cost of it now. So Sarah went back and thought about what she could and couldn't do, and came back and said, you know what, I think I can do an admin at no more than 19 and a half hours a week, which would require the town of Kingston not to have to pay, that employee would not be eligible for health insurance benefits.
Oh, no.
Motion to adjourn. No?
You've been dying to say that for years. I don't,
Well, the
No.
whole screen went, but he's looking at it now.
all right.
If you can still
Pause.
hear us online, it looks like Zoom went blank. They're
I
trying to
don't
fix
know.
it.
I don't know.
It's a blue screen.
It just
Can you
said-
guys hear me?
Oh,
Yeah, we
Don,
can hear you, Don. Can you see us?
I can see you guys fine.
Oh, okay. So our screen
Great.
up here just went blue.
So can he,
As long
Don,
as we're
you can
projecting.
hear us, Don?
Yeah, Don said he,
Fortunately, yes.
okay.
I
All right, so
understand
we'll
that.
continue. So
Dang.
they can hear.
Is it plugged in?
The laptop shuts down now, will
That's the
have the
extent.
effect of interrupting
Will it interrupt the connection to the
No,
recording, though,
they
for
can
you
hear.
folks? Okay, so we're still live.
everything. The Zoom is still operational.
Okay,
We're good.
On the air.
that's fine.
Okay.
Sounds
We'll
good.
keep going.
We have
Thank
nothing
you.
to present up there anyway, do we?
No.
Okay.
All right. So, go ahead, Keith. I forget where you were, but
Excuse me, guys. Do you guys want? I'm on Zoom right now. It's real. I'm wondering, do you guys want me to come down and take a look at the projector screen? Because I'm on the road and I'm like a couple minutes out. If you want me to come back and look at it.
I think we're okay, Will.
yeah, I think we're okay. This
Thank
is our
you, though.
last item. Thanks, Will.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice night, guys.
All right, go ahead.
So, long story short, Sarah believes that we can effectively support the veterans of Kingston and Duxbury with a full-time veterans agent and a part-time 19.5 hours or less admin. Again, the benefits that have been in Kingston would remain in Kingston. The benefits that have been budgeted for in Duxbury would remain there. Duxbury would repay the town of Kingston on a quarterly basis for the costs, half of the costs incurred for the wages for that department. As I mentioned in the addendum, what we be looking to do with the veterans agent position is work with wage and personnel to see if the position should be reclassified based on the additional workload that is being asked of her. In looking at some other communities who have veterans agents who are serving a similar number to what Sarah would be serving from both communities, the salary range is mid-80, you know, $95,000. So we've plugged $95,000 into the budget, estimated budget for this, just to show what that number should be. Because wage and personnel won't have anything to be bringing forward until the spring town meeting, what I would suggest the board be willing to consider is entering into an employment contract between the town of Kingston and Sarah until July 1st of 2026. Similar to what we did with the harbor master, when we didn't have anybody, when we didn't have a wage and personnel position at that time for him. That would compensate Sarah at an appropriate rate, allow the district to start up, and what we're looking at, I guess, and I'll stop here because I think I'm mumbling at this point, but what if the Board of Selectmen approve this evening, it'll go to the town of Duxbury. They'll approve it, they'll consider it, and hopefully approve it next week. They seem very excited about the opportunity. The signed agreement would go to the state agency that I just mentioned. And they would review it, and they feel, you know, I guess they're very excited about the fact that Kingston and Duxbury are going to have a district like this and have a veterans agent who is as skilled as we have here. So don't have an exact timeline. They said to Sarah today that they thought they could turn it around pretty quickly. What we're suggesting, worst case scenario, is probably going to be December 1, but maybe a little bit earlier than that. Sarah and her admin would be in Kingston 2 days a week. They would be in Duxbury 2 days a week. We would schedule the hours to be specific hours in Duxbury, specific hours in Kingston, and make people aware that if I'm a Duxbury veteran and I need to see Sarah today for an unknown emergency, that is absolutely fine for that person to drive to Duxbury because she's in Duxbury this particular day, and get the service that they need from her in Duxbury, and vice versa. So, really excited about the opportunity to do a regional thing like this. Hopefully, it's an opportunity for us to look at other, town functions to see if there's a better way of doing business for less money. And again, I can't thank Sarah enough for her willingness to try to step up and do this for us.
Are we ready for a motion?
Wow.
Yeah, unless anybody has a question, I would say fire away.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the Veterans District involving the town of Duxbury and the agreement that we've all reviewed in the papers here.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Eric,
Second.
aye?
Kim, aye.
Missy, aye.
Kyle Pike, aye.
Thank you very much. Sorry I was so long-winded,
Wait.
Carl.
Don, aye.
Yep, thanks, Don. All right, next item, update on the status.
Did she have anything to add, or she just was there in case you had questions?
In case there were
Okay.
questions, I think. All right, there's no update on Department of Public Works, but I will be working with both Water and Sewer Commission soon.
Do we want to take that off the agenda, since you're working
No,
on an MOU?
leave it on.
Just keep it on? Okay.
Yeah. We don't have any meeting minutes to go through. Town Administrator report. Any closing arguments?
He said
Well,
motion to adjourn, didn't
I
you hear
did.
him?
My three favorite words. I'll be very brief. I just want to thank this Board of Selectmen, the Board of Select, and all the other selectmen who were here. I had a chance to visit yesterday with Dick Aruda. Always a pleasure. And he brought his dog with him, which was even better. Kingston's been an amazing place for me to be. As I mentioned in my email to you guys today, there are a couple of times I wish I had a do-over with some things, and for those, I'm sorry. It's been a great opportunity for me. I can't urge this board to allow we've got an amazing group of department heads. I've said from the beginning that every department head who's come in here has brought a new energy to this community, and the group of departments I had the opportunity and the pleasure of sitting around a table with every couple of weeks is amazing. I know it's going to be hard to continue to afford quality staff members as we move forward, but I think this board, in the 5 years I've been here, and the improvement in the department heads that we have now, I would like to think this board has seen an improvement in the quality of work and presentations that have been brought to you every 2 weeks, and that's because of the hard work, dedication, the capability of the people. Sometimes they're not, you get what you pay for, and I can tell you right now, the town of Kingston is absolutely getting that now, and it might cost us a little bit more money than it used to in the past, but you're getting a hell of a lot more than you used to get, except for the treasurer. Motion to adjourn.
All right, we have our next regular meeting, October 7th, 2025, 2 weeks. Any comments or a motion to adjourn?
I'd just like to say that, it's been my pleasure to work with Keith Hickey here. I was actually on the original search committee that went out and talked to many candidates, and we settled on bringing him to the Board of Selectmen. I've been fortunate enough to work with him and the two excellent directors of finance on my time on the Finance Committee. Spent 3 years here really working full-time with Keith providing excellent direction and excellent person to bounce things off of. And now sitting here in this corner chair and getting a little frustrated at some of the important matters that we have to spend 25 minutes discussing. However, it's still my pleasure to have worked with Keith, and I look forward to having some fried clams down on the New Bedford waterfront.
I'll buy.
Can I just ask one thing?
You may.
The Plymouth County Advisory Board has a meeting on Thursday, the 23rd at 6 PM. I'm unable to attend that evening, but someone can attend in my stead, so I'm just going to forward it to you guys. I don't think we need to vote on that. It's
When
just
did you
if,
say it was?
it's October 23rd.
Oh, so, okay.
So if someone could just, raise their hand, we can send someone in my stead, but it doesn't have to be on an agenda, I don't think, 'cause it's not an official reappointment. It's just
Yeah.
subbing in, so I would appreciate that. I will forward it.
Thank you, Keith, for everything. I know when we talk to the department heads and everyone in town, they really appreciate everything you've done, and it's been a pleasure to work with you for the last year and a few months, so.
I appreciate that. We've got a great team.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got a great team here, and it makes life a lot easier when you know you can turn around to the people around you, and they're willing to do whatever they can for the community to have it be the community that it is. And I know people get frustrated at times. We heard it tonight with some of the road stuff. It's not because we're trying to be jerks. It's just, sometimes it's just tough. But the people here have put their heart and soul into it. And I have been blessed to sit around with some incredibly talented people who make life awfully easy for the person sitting, taking direction from Trish.
So true.
Would anybody like to make a motion? Do we still have Don, or did we lose him?
He's still there.
Okay.
Don is here.
Don, you want
Don
to make a
is here.
motion to adjourn?
I will, well, first I just want to say thank you to Keith. You've been excellent to work with as well.
Thanks,
I'll keep that very short and sweet, but you're going to be very much missed. But you've left us with, a working set of department heads that have been excellent, and you'll be missed. But I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All those in favor, Eric, aye.
Am I?
Missy, I.
Kyle Pike, aye.
Don, aye.
That's it.
All right, and I invite everybody to stay. We have cupcakes.
That's his going
We gotta
away.
get him out
That's
of the
his going away,
office.
yeah.